The government of Uganda recognizes education as an important aspect of human capital development and is guaranteed under Article 30 of the 1995 Constitution. This includes both formal and non-formal education of youth and adults. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, MGLSD, bears the mandate for adult literacy and non-formal education and has been implementing the Functional Adult Literacy Program to address the needs of literate youth and adults since the 90s. However, discomfort was expressed with the modality and outcomes of the program over time, that by 2014, Uganda still had approximately 11 million youth and adults of 18 years and above who lack basic literacy and numeracy skills needed to propel their personal development, according to UBOS in 2018. This resulted into a need for a more integrated and learner-oriented program.
At the ministry, we are responsible for designing programs and projects and also designing guidelines for implementation. These programs are implemented by the districts. So we link with the districts and the structures below the district at the sub-county through the parish to the village and the community for sustainability and also for continuity.
In this context, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development decided to partner with the German Adult Education Association, DVV International, a leading professional organization in the field of adult education and development cooperation, in 2014 for technical and financial support towards designing, piloting, and upscale a new integrated adult education program that can address the varying needs of youths and adults. Through this partnership, the Integrated Community Learning for Wealth Creation Icolew program was conceptualized as a nexus for establishing a robust adult education system, with 4 elements of an enabling environment, technical and management processes, and institutional frameworks effectively working towards empowering non-literate and semi-literate youth and adults for social-economic transformation.
Our strategic focus as the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is empowering communities, particularly the vulnerable and marginalized groups, for wealth creation and inclusive development. This is also in line with the NRM's Manifesto 2016-2021's commitment of establishing a formal institutional framework for strengthening mobilization and communities. In view of its importance, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has identified Icolew as one of the core projects to be implemented to contribute to the 3rd National Development Plan goals of increasing average household incomes and improving the quality of life of Ugandans.
Icolew program redesigned the provision of adult literacy services to address unmet needs of learners by including 5 key components targeting non-illiterate / semi-illiterate youth and adults, as the National Icolew Program Coordinator explains.
The first one is the literacy and numeracy skills acquisition and enhancement, and this is focusing on the functional adult literacy, whereby we do not want any Ugandan to remain without literacy and numeracy skills. The literacy and numeracy component targets majorly to empower, to give these people the skills in reading, writing, and enumerating, but relating to their day-to-day lives, so that they can function well within their communities. The other component of the program is the village saving and loan associations, whereby these members who have been mobilized together into one group save on a weekly basis. And the savings are agreed upon by members in terms of share capital, which they keep on saving on a weekly basis. And we are trying to promote the savings culture, but we also want the communities to learn to generate their own capital, where they can start to access finances that are not very difficult to get. The component also promotes financial literacy, because they do a lot of record keeping, using now the literacy and numeracy skills that they acquire in the first component. So you find that actually the components are related. With the skills in literacy and numeracy, the learners are able to take records of their savings, of how much they are borrowing, of the profitability of their ventures, so that they can participate fully and functionally. So we are also contributing to the financial inclusion, because with the VSLA, they are able to open accounts. We want them to get used to banking in the formal institutions. The third component of the program is the livelihood skills training and the business skills training. The livelihood skills training basically is looking at the application of the literacy and the numeracy skills. After going through the learning for a period of at least 6 months and above, the learners and participants in this program are mobilized again to participate in the livelihood skills training. Here we base on what they are already doing. Basically, we want to improve on how they are doing it. And you find that they are doing this in their day-to-day activities, especially for income generation. So what the program does is to equip them now with skills that are technical to improve productivity. We want them to be gainfully employed by engaging in productive ventures. And definitely, as we are doing the livelihood skills training, we twin it with the business skills training, so that whatever they are doing, they do it with the model of getting profit out of whatever you're doing. The fourth component of this program is community development. As a program, we do not believe in getting solutions from outside. As the learners are being mobilized and forming groups, they identify issues and then they analyze those issues to come up with group action plans and village action plans, which plans show what they are able to do on their own, but also where they can go else for other services that are not available. So you find that they have something they can do out of their action points, but they also go to the other levels. For example, services that they can access at the sub-county level, the district level, and other providers like the NGOs who are within the locality. So we encourage the component actually tries to make the communities to own the development by taking lead in acting on improving their situation. The last component is the Community Learning Center. As a country, we have learned a lot of lessons from our neighboring countries here in Africa, but also in other continents, that learning is continuous and it's lifelong. So we have the component of the Community Learning Center that looks at knowledge and skills acquisition at that one locality within the community that is within the access of every member, but also the same center acts as a hub for service delivery by all the local authorities and other partners within the community. Overall, I would say the program is more aligned to the needs of the community as well as addressing the national development agenda.
Icolew program is implemented through learner groups of up to 30 members each, called a Community Empowerment Group, which has a locally and trained facilitator who facilitates the Icolew learning process, covering all 5 elements 2 to 3 times a week, with a learning session lasting between 2 to 3 hours of a convenient period, and learning sites selected by learners themselves. Each community empowerment group selects a separate day for VSLA activities. The program is currently implemented in the districts of Namayingo, Mpigi, Iganga, and Nwoya, reaching over 2,000 beneficiaries. Borrowing from the Reflect approach, which merges literacy and development, learning under Icolew program rotates around a user or problem affecting a particular community. Therefore, the learning process takes the following steps. A situation analysis is carried out by trained personnel in a particular village, and key issues or problems affecting that community are identified and prioritized and are addressed one by one through the learning process. By using PRA tools like a problem tree, a specific problem or issue is visualized by members of a community empowerment group, CEG or CHEG. After visualization, the CHEG further analyzes the problem through intensive discussions using probing questions, starting from general to analytical, and finally to action-oriented questions. The CHEG then generates an action plan to address the problem starting from resources within their reach, while considering sources of resources outside their reach. The facilitator then generates literacy and numeracy ideas from the problem, the PRA tool, or the action plan, and he uses these ideas to form literacy or numeracy tasks suitable for different categories of learners in multi-level class. Supplementary materials are an integral part of learning, and these have to be in line with a specific issue or problem being addressed by the CHEG. These can be posters, newspapers, or any other relevant IEC material. Adult education sessions are organized where a subject matter specialist is invited to the CHEG to give a lesson on the topic. Even within the CHEG, there could be more experienced participants in the subject who can share their experiences. Further still, a field tour can be organized for CHEG members to acquire practical skills on the subject. Monitoring and evaluation is done on all aspects of learning on skills acquisition and applications, and this is done in a participatory manner where learners take center stage in evaluation of their learning. Tasks are given to learners during and every after a learning unit, while quarterly and summative learning assessments are conducted on all program components to determine learner achievements and proficiency levels, according to the Literacy Assessment and Monitoring Program LAMP scale. It should, however, be noted that the learning process is not linear in nature, and that steps can be alternated according to learning needs and environment. The facilitator's guide or learning units are developed following steps in the learning process and based on issues identified in a particular community through a situation analysis.
We started by conducting what we call a situation analysis, and among the sectors that we entirely were looking at was water and sanitation, and we realized that the community was really using contaminated water. We needed to come up with efforts on how we could ensure that our water is made safe. Among the actions we decided to do was to come up with the water source committee for the purpose of ensuring that there was cleanliness around the water source.
To strengthen implementation of all Icolew program components and to benefit the wider community, Community Learning Centers, CLCs, have been established as hubs for lifelong learning, skills training, and access to services delivered by local authorities. The CLC modality is aligned to the government key strategies and policy reforms required to realize the implementation of Vision 2040. The vision draws government attention to reviewing the architecture of government service delivery system to act as a unit, harness synergies, and deliver public services efficiently and effectively.
The first thing that we did as District of Namayingo is to own this program through our district councils and sub-county councils. We tasked our sub-counties to procure land. We released around 60 million shillings, and this money facilitated to construct these community learning centers up to roofing level, and our dear good development partner came in to facilitate the remaining part.
CLCs will help government to ensure inclusive and improved service delivery through integrated approaches within and across sectors in the CLCs. As a means to optimize resources, the program is implemented in an integrated manner where human, financial and non-financial resources are drawn from across sectors and tiers of government, including non-state actors, depending on an issue being addressed.
Their major problem was low soil fertility, and this directly affects crop yields. So we had to conduct several trainings on how to go about it, thus adding fertilizers or organic manure to their soils, and also controlling soil erosion, because if you went through that area, the land is very hilly, and during the rainy season, there is runoff. So we also teach them how to control soil erosion.
The biggest success for this program and the uniqueness for it is the integration, ensuring that all departments are actually intertwined together. And this program, it came in to address those particular issues of empowerment. You know, a disempowered community is a dangerous community to deal with. This is one biggest achievement that this Icolew program has actually realized, improved empowerment of our communities.
We have made sure that when partners come with their programs, we look through how can Icolew as a program be integrated or mainstream within the programs. In December, for example, we had these tripartite arrangements between the district local governments, DVV, and also Uganda Wildlife Authority. And through Revenue Sharing Fund, Uganda Wildlife Authority once again committed funding to the district local government to enable them construct 2 more community learning centers. There are other integration aspects that are technical, assuming a partner wants to provide support. He wants to train the VSLA groups, to train community members on how to fight gender-based violence and many others. If they have the expertise, they said, okay, we already have these learners in place. So in a way, the integration is holistic. It touches every angle of the society and in every aspect of development, and that is what has helped us as a district.
Since its inception, Icolew program has registered numerous successes at both individual and institutional level.
Icolew njekere mu bintu bingi ulwasi tali manyire kwandika ndali manyire osoma ndali manyire entumbuli nende emboreri byose ndekera mu Icolew manyire sevinga yanje keso sevinga anje keso kola business ulwanya nda sevinga achande odese ndecho ndahora business change ndasomesa abana bange
natandika nakatebe kamu nakasandizo n'omutwe gw'omuntu ogwo gumu ogwa rollers nali nga njagala okwewola nga sina wennewola kati nga bw'oba ogenda okwewola mu zino banka bakusaba kyosinga ate nali nga sikiina so nga ate eno mwabikolewo tolina kyosinga ng'omuli mu group nenkola ki nentandika okuba nga nneewolayo nenfuna abaana be nayigiriza kirowoozo kyange nga bwe nkirowooza kituukire olw'okuba nalina omusingi guli ogwalukolewo
ana pe ki ngej moko ken ben okwan mama kwan pe ento ngej kumbira no yom chunya tika beru yom mitok kuma yom chunya ken ge awalok piane chabani gen mo be ga timne wa be ga bolo chop ano chene mi chop pe bagamo ambara wil ku pego tie a jimi mano pa ngej chalo fu ma fur chalo nyanya gini kombeta ngej dong a fur nyanya beti dokulu makano ni pe bo na teru cher nena be yad mu ma ta ula per kan ento pego tie gi mogo tika bal na dio gan gwen ba wido tie be ki en chene mu ma ten ma atika no ne piana no do ngej
pol karamio la bolle ken matika ko ker ki bot jo matika ngato kan nego nan ken wan tika beru kere e ka to ga kwan na nyote anani pian mon ma tika cherne jomo ka nawi tika balu chawa tika kwa tiji poro ana dukune tima be we ana ka tumba wai ki chomo kenene pe go di mon ma cher ka kwan ka ci dagal ci program en o wek mon cher ko pian ngej ma be noy kono be ke la yete ki gang be mio ko ki en ki le tiano ki jomo rumu kan beru yo me ogien ma waje bot cho mu kenene
twasooka okusoma obuyondo twafuna naikonto yaife mu byobuyondo twayira ku twasoma okulima era tulima mu mbeere y'omutendera twayega okusuubula nga tukwega tutya twasooka kusevinga getusevinga obusente obwo twabeewola beene twatandika okubukozesa mu kusuubula nze mwene nga sirikirawo topirisita natandika okubuleeta mu amafuta n'ekibiriiti bwankolera idduuka.
When I joined this program of Icolew, there are a lot of things I learned. For example, financial literacy, the budgeting, and then the savings. So I started saving within what we call the VSLA, Village Savings and Loans Association. I was able to get some money that I used to buy the first plot. I have given back to the community by putting up a school.
I have benefited from Icolew program by building that house you are seeing. I bought a cow. I have got popularity in the community, and I'm contesting as a district councillor in this term.
We have civil society organizations, NGOs and CBOs. They normally fall in love with already existing groups which have been mobilized and which are in place. So people have been wondering how they could attract CBOs in their villages. And now the trick is organize yourselves into groups that are existing for a longer time and on purpose. And such groups are the ones which are in Icolew program. So we have been even overwhelmed by the demands from other sub-counties to roll out and also scale up within the pilot sub-counties.
Icolew has been really so supportive in strengthening the efforts of Nwai District in terms of functional adult literacy, increasing household income, skilling our people in different enterprises. And what I can say is that for a country to achieve Vision 2040, the aspect of literacy is very key. And all this has come because the DVV was able to come in and say, can we modify the functional adult literacy into something that have different components that can interest other people?
I always say, yes, we implement projects because we have project funding, but we follow a programming approach. That means we try to embed our work within what the government does, and we respect that.
We started working together with the Ministry of Gender because we shared the same vision on the future of adult education in Uganda. Together we conceptualized Icolew program. DVV has been supporting financially but also technically.
One of the strategic interventions underpinning Icolew as a project is strengthening the functionality of and accessibility to quality non-formal literacy services. A cabinet memorandum on streamlining funding to strengthen community development function in government is in cabinet for consideration, and Icolew is one of the flagship projects under the National Development Plan 3, which will cover the period 2020-21 to 2024-25.
Wow.